Hey guys, what's up and welcome to another episode of the Goodcast Show. So it seems like this year is the year of power tussles. We've seen so much in politics happening in Bersatu, Perikatan Nasional, MIPP and so many others. We've seen it before, but now even our associations are not free of it. And the association I'm talking about is the Malaysian Cricket Association, MCA. Recently, news has been coming out on various portals detailing a power struggle. People, old guards don't want to give way to the new guards or whatever the situation is. So to share the background and the actual story of what's happening, I have with me the president of the Negeri Sembilan Cricket Association, Mr. Senathiraj Thevaratnam, aka Sena, who unfortunately is also a Liverpool fan. So please welcome to the podcast. Sena, how are you?
He did hear, like he said, fortunately, I'm a Liverpool fan,
unfortunately. He also brought his cap, as you can see the side. Yeah. You got to.
It's over here. It's over here.
This interview is over. Done. Because I saw on your Instagram.
That's pretty much the Liverpool season already as well. Some people are saying.
Yeah, but at least you guys are doing better than us. So, yeah. So, okay. So, Sena, the news is out there. We know what's happening in the front from the outside looking in. Yep. So maybe give us a bit of an overview of the start. How did this all start? The problem that's happening now in the Malaysian Cricket Association.
Oh my gosh. Just when you think the first question would not have been such a loaded one. It's very, very loaded. You want the truth? I'm just going to give you the truth.
Please.
Yeah, I don't want to give you what's being said.
I can handle the truth.
I'm gonna give you facts.
Okay.
It boils down to dissatisfaction on decision making. You want to know it in a nutshell? That's pretty much what it was.
But then when you talk about decision making, you're talking about decision making made by the current president.
When I say decision making is made by Malaysian Cricket Association.
Okay, just like but not by the president.
Just like in Negeri Sembilan Cricket Association, when we make a decision, the buck stops with me.
Okay. So the buck stops with the president. That's what you're saying.
But when I go forward and I say we as an association, we made these decisions. So what started to happen was, I think some people wanted to remove themselves from those equations of the decision making that was done. But so I'm like, what? So did you not agree to it? Did you not voice out your frustration or your disappointment?
So these people were wanting to move themselves out of it because they were in opposition, or they wanted to wash their hands.
It kind of looked like it's a bit of both.
Okay.
And to a certain point, that some would argue that. Did they simply allow this to happen? They had this, some may have said that some people may have had dissatisfactions, disapprovals, and they allowed it to happen because of some long-term plans that they had, which may have materialized by now.
But what are these decisions specifically that was opposed?
So in sports, in cricket, particular cricket being a team sport and how it operates, they've got a brilliant set of employees that work in the Malaysian Cricket Office, really top notch. They keep pulling out, delivering wonders. They move mountains, amazing. All the way from that, all the way to the ground staff. There's people who pretty much take care of the grounds, and then you've got the cricket proper, which is the team. The players and the officials, which are the manager, the coaches, and the high performance team that that's in charge of all the various age groups in terms of coaching and managing and so on. So I think it's decision making in a lot of these areas that affected it, that led to it. I think it's one after the other. But that's the thing. Being a leader of a sports association or leader anywhere, decision making has to happen. And when we say leaders here in the whole arena of sports, you elect or you empower a group of individuals to make collective decision making. It can't be that any one or two people make the decisions and then later everybody pleads ignorance. So it cannot be like that. So when you say leaders of the sport, they are a leader in that entire line. They're the front line of leadership. So that is where I cannot digest the whole thing. I felt that when the president Iqbal decided to resign, it was really good to see a lot of them also that were in his lineup, in his exco, decided to resign at that point of time. Some of them did not, and they had a different point of view. So be that as it may, we've come to the point where eventually, I'm not sure what changed. I feel that maybe there's things that I will not properly handle in terms of the resignation, and that's why now.
So was he right? Was there a coup? Was there a planned coup?
How do I explain this? Saying coup d'etat what does that actually mean? You know, we live in Malaysia. We've seen things like that hotel move that people talk about. You know, so what exactly does that mean? I all I can tell you is there were a lot of discussions. There were a lot of meetings that happened in broad daylight. Some meetings happened behind the scenes, and it was meetings involving all kinds of parties, just simply talking about this and firing this whole thing up. And me being in this whole picture from ground up at the state level, I seem to find it things that were very BAU. It would happen anywhere. It would happen in sports associations. It would happen in sports organizations, corporate organizations.
Yeah.
Very BAU stuff. And you just have to deal with it. Find the right way to deal with it. But yeah, a lot of the discussions were not just about that. It was about how can we fix this? Okay, so then let's talk about fixing it. But then
what needed fixing in the MCA?
Now, all these things that were talked about, the things that they were not happy about, things that did not materialize. For example, a lot of things that was picked on was the Under-19 Women's World Cup that happened last year.
Okay.
Apparently, from the whole, the whole planning of the preparation for the Under-19, where we were the hosts, Women's World Cup Under-19, but the preparation of the team, there was a lot of things that did not go as planned. It was not as smooth. And being a World Cup preparation, it should have been handled better.
Yeah.
Okay, but these all sound like it's very much things that happen. It's not something out of the norms.
Yeah.
So looking at all those kind of things, and the selection of the coach apparently was heavily scrutinized. And in terms of that, was there plenty of objection? Was it made known to a lot of the stakeholders? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe a lot of the decision making, that's where maybe things were not happening. When I heard it through all these rumors and gossips and
through
people,
the grapevine.
yeah, exactly, through the grapevine. And I didn't really appreciate. Why are we not hearing this in the proper platforms? Being a stakeholder of Cricket Malaysia. And so all these things that happened eventually led to one after the other. I'm just naming you one, but there were probably 10 things that were.
One of it that was I read was that people were not happy with the fact that the Malaysian men's cricket team has not had a full-time coach since the resignation of, I think his name is Bilal, the Pakistani coach, right?
Bilal, yeah.
And in fact, even his comeback to the team is also being complained about because he didn't really achieve much when he was there before. Is that true?
This is Bilal's third appointment. I know him personally, and I've seen what he can do with the players, and he really is one of the that bunch of people that helped take Malaysia to such great heights in terms of cricket. And so I've got nothing against him. I love the guy. He knows me on a first name basis. But again and again, this is his third chapter here. This is third chapter here. And
okay.
Recently in the recent World Cup qualifiers, which was Malaysia's highest or best chance to qualify for the World Cup on merit, because I think 3 teams qualified for the World Cup. Not 2, I think 3. So
we lost, right?
It was really it was gut wrenching to watch the whole thing, and it's again that team went with like 10 support staff. Okay, so earlier we were talking about funding. We'll come to that, and I'm wondering like how did this work?
For a 15-man team, you have 10.
Yeah, you have 10. So it's very very odd, and it's something that I'm not going to say it's not heard of. But for Malaysia to do this at this current juncture, what justifies it? What gives? So
one of the things was that it was alleged that it could have been a thank you for all the support.
I dare not insinuate. I cannot insinuate. I cannot.
No, but this is it's in the articles. The articles. Yeah.
It is in the articles.
Yeah.
I like to just keep it about the facts that I know.
Okay, fair enough.
The facts that I know. We can insinuate all we want here.
You can't blame me. I'm a podcast. I'm trying to get the juicy bits.
No. You go for it. At this point, on that front, looking at the JD that went out when they were hiring for coaches. At that point, they already had a senior men's coach who I think had just been given the opportunity for a matter of months, and the person was actually doing all right, but there's a lot more to prove, of course, and it's a big year. So this is what happens with sports when there's a big year. We've got a World Cup qualifier, we've got the SEA Games coming up.
Yeah, in Thailand. Yeah.
So you tend to make this kind of shotgun moves. Okay, you really tend to be very impulsive about a lot of things. So you can't blame a lot of people for doing it. But the JD was very peculiar, and the joke and on the street was looking at the criteria that were put forth for the men's national team coach or so on. It looked like even the the great Rahul Dravid can't apply for the job.
I see.
I
see.
The Great Wall of India can't apply for the job.
You want the best of the best.
It seemed very skewed.
Yeah.
Very, very peculiarly skewed. And of course, we heard about this whole talk of Bilal coming back and so on. And everyone was so adamant about his return. And I take it in a positive stride. But again, I've asked this question some time back. I'm talking about 7-8 years back. I went into one of the formal MCA meetings as a council member, and I asked this question: How is success measured?
Trophies.
I've not got an answer today. I've not got an answer today. So we are ranked some 20 odd in the world. Is that what? Are we happy with that? Are we looking to really really push forward and become a test country, ODI country?
Under this president, has he placed certain KPIs for himself, for the association, for the team?
You have to be a bit more specific there. This president, meaning what?
Iqbal.
Okay, under Iqbal.
No, but he's currently the president, right?
Yeah, so Iqbal, I believe from my conversations that I had conversations with everybody on both fractions, and Iqbal really wanted to drive change.
Okay,
he wanted to drive change. And you do not know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Neither do I. But I think there was a sense, again, certain groups, certain fractions, that a huge change was needed. And I do believe I'm not just in cricket, I'm in the sports fraternity. I've been with the National Olympic Academy under OCM's education wing for so long. I've been there since 2006. Took a break for a while. I came back in the last maybe 7-8 years. I've been aggressive in it. And we learn a lot about sports and governance, and we hear about a lot of problems affecting all kinds of sports. And it boils down to really one thing. The stories that you hear from sports associations that actually were in a bit of a fix themselves, and how did they come out of it? How did they prosper forward and go to greater heights? Is change. So why are we afraid of it? Okay, maybe people want to say that, we'll change, but maybe so and so may not be the right people for it. That's fine. But we've gone back to the same old story, okay? And that's a problem for a lot of people. That's a problem for me. So we go back to the same old story. So what does that say about us, grassroots? Are we going to go back to the same ways of doing things as well? Because that's what you're pretty much showing us, okay? I keep preaching that, that change is good. So I've changed, my exco has changed, has evolved in so many different ways. We keep learning new things. We keep getting new people in. In my Negeri Sembilan Exco, we've got a guy from underwater hockey. Have you heard of this?
No.
Underwater hockey is actually a competitive sport, and they're doing so great.
I mean, they play under swimming pools?
They play, yes,
in swimming pool.
In the water right down, and they play hockey. I'm not kidding. Look it up. I've got a guy from underwater hockey.
I would love to watch that.
He's one of our vice presidents. I've got a guy from water polo, who played water polo for Malaysia, and who was a director of the Olympic Academy as well. And he loves doing sports. He loves doing sports governance. We have former national players. We have teachers. We have coaches. We have all kinds of things. And then we have purely one guy from the corporate world, finance. So we keep changing. We keep evolving. So what was so wrong with the change? So again, people have their say. Some people didn't want things to change. Some people are afraid of change. And some people just are in the comfort of what they're used to, and they just want to believe that what they're used to, trust the process, Kela Teta, and you'll probably
find yourself there. I asked this because the previous president,
Malaysian Cricket president before Iqbal,
before Iqbal.
Mr. Mahinda,
Mahinda, that's his name, correct. Right, yeah. So in these articles, it seems like there is people want him to come on board, saying that he has very good administrative skills.
Yeah.
He was very clear saying that he wants to bring Malaysia into top 15 in the world and all that. So he had that idea. He said, like, for example, he wanted us, the MCA to have a proper office with staff and GMs to run it properly, like a corporate structure. So do you think that he would have made a good president coming up?
So himself and Iqbal, they actually go way back, and they were the ones that, I have to tell you, I learned the art of governing a sports association from them. I've got to say. So they both, are people that I really put up there. And he did implement all of that. And today, Malaysia Cricket, at one point when I came in, there were general managers, and then there was a COO, and now a CEO. So they have got good structure. Like I said, the office is doing really well.
But comparative between them, what separates them?
I think that's the thing. I can't set them apart. And if you really want to know the truth, when all this started to happen, I spoke to them separately. Maybe I should have spoke to them together. Maybe I didn't know how to do the WhatsApp group call at that point. I spoke to them separately, and I did say that I think it's time for you both to join forces again. For the greater good, and take Malaysia back on track onto the greater heights. And this is a fact. I did say it. I spoke to both of them, and unfortunately, I think they could not find common grounds, and that's why we're where we are today. The split has happened. It's very unfortunate, and we're stuck in this very weird bubble that I can't wait.
Usually in things like this, like in America, when you have government shutdowns and government freezes, right?
Yeah.
The people suffer. So in this kind of tussle, how is the Malaysian cricket team doing? I mean, what's the impact to them?
The fraternity is very much torn right now. I would say that from the legends, the great of the greats, who are still watching from a distance, and commenting and giving their 2 cents views or more, all the way down to the people, the parents who have been involved, where the kids have been involved for the last few years, wondering what's really going on, to teachers, to players, and so you name it. They're very, very torn. So as a fraternity, we really don't like this. We want this to really come to a proper amicable conclusion whenever that is going to be found. Till then, I guess we've just got to go with the punches, I guess.
Now let's move on to another huge allegation, of course, that's around this whole thing, is money. And to be fair to the government, I think they've been very generous to the MCA. I mean, from what I can find online, apparently the viewership or the fan base for cricket in Malaysia is about 331,000 plus. Yet they were allocated RM1 million in grants, right? And we'll get to that grant particularly, because now that's another issue as well. But there is allegations, as you said, that trips, 10-man team to manage a 15-team players and all that, and then apparently there's no bank account. So what's the truth behind that as well? I mean, is it that messy, the whole organization?
Okay, let me lay down the facts here. No bank account is not very accurate.
Okay.
Malaysia Cricket has a bunch of bank accounts. So what has happened in all of this? So now let me lay it down for you. The president resigned at the extraordinary general meeting, and a bunch of his exco members resigned. And the odd thing, and you're going to find this very odd. Many people that are listening are going to find it very odd. The actual general meeting, where the elections of the exco that would take charge of Malaysia Cricket for the next term, was going to happen in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
On the 27th of April. It's just 2 weeks. So why have an EGM? We'll let.
I thought all was done together, but no.
No. So the EGM happened on the 13th, and 27th was the elections.
Okay.
And very, very odd. I will leave all the listeners to really try to brain that. Till today I can't brain it. There was nothing I could do to stop it, and a lot of people apparently wanted it. That was actually done very, very oddly. It was a few different attempts to get that. It was rejected.
Why was that odd? By your words.
The first attempt to call for the EGM, which happened way before that, got rejected. And then there was still another attempt to call for another EGM. And then, knowing that there's timelines as per constitution for when the EGM is going to be called. So if you know that you're going to submit another requisition for an extraordinary general meeting, if you know the constitution, and that's what I keep telling everybody, do you know the constitution?
Okay.
So if you know it, then you know that, okay, even if it gets approved, it's going to be called at this duration of time. So if you look at the duration of time, you've got to play this out. You can't say that you didn't think of it. Oh, we didn't think it was going to be that, which a lot of people have said to my face. Oh, we didn't think it was going to become like this. What were you thinking about then, when you did it? So you don't think before you act? Oddly enough, I do not know how to fathom these things.
What is the actual, based on your constitution, what is the timeline, the span of time you need to form the AGM?
Yeah, so it's it needs to be called within the requisition and the EGM. The AGM is different. That's a general meeting that happens. The EGM is extraordinary, so it has slightly different timelines to it. But it will be called by the secretary at the stipulated timeline that is given. So when you know that if it gets approved and it's going to be called, it's going to be called very close to the actual general meeting, which was already called prior to that. The general meeting was already called prior to that, So and I know for a fact some of the stakeholders later, when the EGM was called, and then later when the reminder on the actual general meeting was happening, people were going, "Oh, we didn't know that this year was an election year."
I see.
So I'm like, what? And this is anyway.
Sounds very similar to national politics.
It's the politics of sports anyway.
Well, yeah.
So he resigned. Then there was the time where he withdrew or retracted or whatever the thing is, and then there were questions about there were a lot of people calling about nomination form, who are we putting forward and all that. I personally had 17 calls on nomination where I said no, we're not putting this chap, we're not putting that chap, and eventually there was Iqbal's name was on there, and some of the people who stepped down their names were also on the nomination list, and then suddenly Iqbal, there was an email, a communication that told us that he's reassuming his role, and he sought advice from the authorities, and he's deferring the BGM. And then there was another communication that came up and said that the EGM is going to continue. And just before that, there was a communication to say that a court case was filed against
Iqbal and these four people, right? And 3 or 4.
Yeah, correct. So it was filed against them, and we were all dumbfounded, like what's going on. And so then that's where, for me, I knew what was going to happen. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the most intelligent. I'm not the most learned guy out there, but I know a little bit. Okay? I know a little bit. And I have to thank, a lot of people for that, because I'm part of the, Olympic Academy, and that gives me I have to do a lot of homework to be the chief moderator there.
Okay.
Because you got to know your stuff going in there. So you got to know about the Sports Act. You got to know about this kind of thing. So I already had a feeling that this was going to be very ugly. I really knew it. So then, for me, if a problem was identified and therefore something was filed in court against these five gentlemen or 4 gentlemen, and then that means there's a problem. We recognize there's a problem. We're telling you there's a problem. We're taking action on the problem. The problem needs to be resolved. That's my take.
Yeah.
And so very good. So I was really, really like, okay, this is really good problem. Let's go and solve the problem. But then why proceed with the BGM? With the general meeting, biennial we call it, because elections happen biennially. So why proceed with it? Why not resolve it and operate as you currently are, and just continue to make sure that cricket gets what it deserves in Malaysia. Cricket remains about cricket, and all these things remain outside, and let it resolve. Trust the legal system or whatever to resolve it. So because that didn't happen, and looking at the Sports Act, there are procedures to resolve these kind of sports issues, which were then bypassed, and it's immediately gone to the highest possible law in the country, which is the court. So as such, from what I've been made to understand, that the submissions that are always due, the required submissions for any sports association to the Sports Commissioner's office, have not been accepted or endorsed or something. It's been submitted, no doubt, but whether it's been endorsed or accepted, so that became an issue. So with that being an issue, you can't go and update signatories in banks and so on. So the bank accounts are there, and it's just lying dormant for now, I guess. And that's the latest I know. I do not know if there's new information out there, but that's what it is. But I've been told about this other bank account.
The personal one.
I'm not sure if it's personal.
Again,
or
it's an
not.
article. I'm just saying
It's
what's
in
the
an article,
articles.
so the article says it's personal. I feel, again, a lot of things that are said in the article.
But there's also things about a forged signature.
Okay. Let's the forged signature again was something of a huge roller coaster ride for a lot of people. Like, we literally were on a roller coaster ride. We went all the way up and then we were going all the way down and screaming like, what the hell's going on? And apparently there were these very strong allegations about the forged. So that was part of the requisitions and so on, where signatures are required, I guess. And apparently it was not resolved, but the stance had changed about the forgery itself.
Okay.
So apparently it was a yes, and then suddenly it became a no. But I've been, made to understand that as of now, the authorities are looking at it.
Okay.
They're looking
Fair.
at it because this is strong allegations. Like I said,
Very strong.
everything that is being said in the media, we as a cricketing fraternity should not be afraid of it. We should just go and look and take action and just see whether there's merit to it or not. Investigate it. Have an independent committee look into the facts, work out with whoever is involved, find out, get it done. Okay, we found merit, or we have not found any merit, so this matter is then done. If there's merit, we now have to take further action, so we're going to keep going with whatever is. There's no merit, just close it, but we just shouldn't be afraid of it.
But one thing that you said just now, you talked about how you wanted Iqbal and Mahadevan, right? His name?
Mahinda.
Why do I keep saying Iqbal and Mahinda to join forces and bring cricket higher, right? But then we have this other report that's saying that the grant of 1 million ringgit that was purposed to build the cricket grassroots has been repurposed for just the SEA Games in Thailand. That doesn't sound like good leadership to me.
In terms of the 1 million grant, so here's the thing. I was appointed as one of the chairpersons for the special development committee.
Yeah, the one that Hannah Yo said it was very good because it showed that the Cricket Association has governance, respects governance and all that.
Correct. So we met the minister, and it was just before the Under-19 Women's World Cup that happened in the Vallipuram Cricket Oval, which is the home of Malaysian cricket now. So we met, and alongside the Deputy President, Dr. Arun, and Mr. Ahmad Salman, who is with Putrajaya Cricket Association. So three of us were chairing a committee and we were already in the works of getting proposals done. It was already mentioned to YB Hannah that we will be coming to set up an appointment to meet you and show you how the plan, the program that we're drawing out on how these development funds are going to be used. And it's something that we have to take seriously. It was literally in the official budget speech by the Prime Minister, even though he may or may not have mentioned, but he was there and it was circulated and it was very, very clear. We're very grateful. I think the fraternity, started jumping and, we're getting such recognition. I remember reading people like, what cricket? Why cricket 1 million,
I was asking the same question.
I remember, a lot of people, exactly. So a lot of people were like, but here we who knew it, were like, oh my God, we're getting the recognition.
Mitra gets 100 million. You guys get
but then, come on, that's for whole different purposes. This is for a sport like cricket, right? So it's a big thing, for us. It's like as good as like our own little World Cup in home that we celebrated, and we were supposed to do that. We were doing it, and suddenly with all this that had happened, I heard internally as well there were a lot of initiatives to not push that forward because again there were apparently everything was supposed to stay status quo until that shift of administration was supposed to happen. So I think that a lot of people were putting things forward, and apparently there were objections to derail any kind of plan, not just this 1 million from PMX, but everything else that maybe the administration had already planned on paper. There were a lot of plans to just halt it, wait for a new administration to come in, and then take it back to the drawing board and see how it's going to be done. And all of a sudden, I was then informed that this 1 million was apparently clarified with certain authorities that it is meant for SEA Games, where I was very shocked because I was there. I met YB Hannah, and we already said that we're going to come up with a plan. We're going to meet you. We're going to present the plan, and then with your blessings, then we will carry it forward, or we'll take in any other input that we need to fine tune and so on. But that's what we were doing, and So then later, for it to be said that it was apparently it was understood that it was supposed to go for the SEA Games preparation, and it's very dumbfounding to me. So like,
But then, if no statement was made by YB Hannah on the matter, then it should be still the same thing, right? The person receiving the grant can't repurpose it for something else. Say no, YB, enough. I'll use it for what I want. You can't do that.
I really do not know whether YB Hannah was consulted on this matter or not, and whether there's already been documentation, there's communications going forward. Like I said, those are very much for Malaysian cricket to run, and they're currently running. However, they're doing it right now, and they're working very hard. The employees are working very hard for sure. But again, this is all things that we have to put a question mark to, and I don't have answers yet.
No, again, if you were to connect the dots, okay, you look at the previous allegation that's come up. Again, all this, guys, is all in the news. I'm not making this up. It's all there. When you talk about how, like I said, the 10-man support team for the 15-player team, right? Then there are allegations again. Why was it such a big team? Was it a thank you and all that kind of stuff? And then you look at this repurposing of a grant where the Prime Minister has mentioned in the budget it's for cricket. It kind of screams that the Malaysia Cricket Association needs an overhaul. I mean, and also because when I was looking at the association, people want past presidents to come back and all that. Exactly the word you use. It sounds like a very close fraternity, and isn't that a breeding ground for all of this? When people get too comfortable, and plus cricket is not necessarily in the focus as much as say FAM, which is a football, it has a much bigger viewership, so it's definitely in the focus, or maybe even things like badminton and all that. Cricket still has its niche market. So it's easier in this kind of markets for things like this to happen. And isn't that bad for the sport ultimately? Because then it loses trust among the fans, among the government, now and future,
I totally agree with you. However, there's a lot of point of views out there, and that's one point of view. That's one way to see it, okay? I'm sorry, just sidetrack. There's fractions of Liverpool fans today who say they want Klopp back.
I agree. I would like to see Klopp back.
You would, yeah. But the Liverpool fans, we want Klopp back.
Yeah.
But that's a point of view, right? So people want it because they've seen success. They've seen it before. So they want the same guy who brought the success to come back. We've done it with Dalglish, it didn't work. And now they're calling for Klopp again. And it's a point of view. And it's not something that is not alien to the sports fraternity. It's there.
And plus Klopp has so much character, man.
Yes,
Come on.
For sure. Yeah, so there's no doubt. It's a point of view. But I feel that it's got to continue to move forward. We've got to be bold enough to take that leap. And I know a lot of things were being said that some of the plans that were put forward were very, very much leaps of faith, very much like stepping. It's literally that Indiana Jones scene from Last Crusade where you've got to just step into that ravine and then you've just got to believe, and you're going to have to land on something, so you just have to believe and do it. And a lot of people are afraid of that. They're afraid of it. They're literally afraid of it. A lot of people who are people that are pretty high ranked in the fraternity were very afraid of it, thinking that what? So we take this, we jump into this ravine, and then we hope to fall on something. Yeah, but you need to cross there, right? So that was the whole point of that scene, and that was the lesson. You need to get there. You must take that leap of faith. It's crossing the chasm. It's literally crossing the chasm. So a lot of people have got trouble with this crossing the chasm concept.
No, because for me, growing up as a huge football fan and playing football myself, when it comes to youth development, I have a soft spot for it, lah. Because we all wanted to play. I'm sure you want to play for Liverpool Academy and a teenager. I want to play for United and all that. But so when money is allocated for grassroots, and then when you look at the previous president saying that he wanted to send Malaysia to the top 15 in the world, youth development is a huge part of that.
Huge part of it, yeah.
And when money that's given for that is then repurposed for something else, I don't care if we lose ASEAN, the SEA Games. But let's look long term, right? Then it just, for me, it's...
Sorry to butt in the idea. So we can't lose it. We got to get the gold medal.
We have to get the gold medal. No, but what I mean is that if you were to ask me to compare or choose, I would choose youth development because I know that will lead to more sustainable success in the future. And repurposing 1 million just seems a bit, short-sighted, I would say. But another thing that's also come out of this, it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, and since you are part of Negeri Sembilan, right, the Cricket Association, that the state cricket associations also seem to be, again, in their own fraternities. Because if one thing that came up was about Sarawak, where no AGM had occurred. Again, these are all allegations, right? Does MCA really have a control of the cricket fraternity on a national level?
Do they have control?
Yeah.
Okay. I think MCA has never been closer to its cricket fraternity now compared to way back then. That's number one. But again, I look at all these allegations and I'm a stakeholder and I feel it. People turn to me and make the calls and hey, what's this about? What's that about? Especially in this last 1 year because so many things are coming out in the media. I get so many calls and I'm like, dude, I don't know. Stop. I'm not the know-it-all of everything. But for me, it's just very simple. We're living in the social media age. We looked at what happened to a lot of other sports associations in Malaysia. This year has been unfortunate, sensationalized, unfortunate. I just feel that we just got to find whether there's merit or no merit to it. And in order to do that, there needs to be proper actions that are taken. If it was me, form an independent committee, work with the sporting authorities that are you're governed by and so on. Form an independent committee, work with whoever you need to work to eliminate it, eliminate the doubts. Come back and say this has the merits, this has no merit. It's as simple as that. Does Malaysia Cricket have control in that sense? I believe they do. They are empowered to do these kind of things, for sure. But why are they not doing it? I don't know. Are they doing it and not disclosing it to its stakeholders? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've been singled out. Maybe Negeri Sembilan has been singled out.
Yeah, obviously, you're coming on podcast and talking like this. You have a target on you.
This entire year, I've been hearing a lot of things. People calling me, a lot of people in various different groups and fractions calling me and saying, Sena, be careful. They're not happy. They're not happy. And I'm like, no, I'm not happy myself. So, but what are they not happy about?
What are you not happy about?
Sorry?
What are you not happy about?
Me?
Yeah.
Personally. Yeah, I do not like to see what's going on with this fraternity, with this sport in this country. It was a very... I'm talking about way back then when the World Cup qualifiers were still, a couple of miles away. And I really felt that why are we focused on all these other things and we're not focused on what's more important, which is qualify for the World Cup, And then now that, unfortunately, this has happened and we have not qualified, we've got the SEA Games just a stone's throw away in terms of time. And are we as focused on that now? Are we finally now focused on the right things? Because all this other mumbo-jumbo that's going on will have to resolve itself following the guidelines that are out there. It's court, whether it's whatever. It will have to eventually. But so I'm not happy that this happened. I'm not happy to get calls in the middle of the night and to clarify, people calling me from UK and Australia and stuff like that, People calling me from Nepal and all that. I'm like, hey, what? You're calling to ask about this kind of thing? So it's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
But so I'm not happy. So I wonder whether things have actually moved forward and we are being kept out of the loop.
Yeah.
I do not know.
Do you think that the answer is new blood? Completely new blood?
Completely. I think new blood is definitely required. I do feel that I look up to a lot of these people out there on whichever camp that they are, because I've been there for the last 11 years and some of them have been there for 15 years, like people like Dr. Arun and Iqbal, 15 odd years and some even longer. But for me, I think maybe these are signs that completely a new setup needs to be there. I'm not sure, who that group of people need to be, but there are a lot of people who are working really, really hard out there to promote cricket, to develop cricket, to take cricket, within their small stakeholders and the larger stakeholders around it, the circles that they work with. They're trying to do a lot of good things. So I do believe that probably it's time for a complete revamp.
Has Iqbal done well in his time?
I would say that he was someone that a lot more states started to like, because there was a lot more, I will just say like the previous administration before Iqbal's time were very much on the international, that whole international pathway, really brilliant on that, where we were really focused on the international agenda. How do we do in the world cricket scene? How do we get to the right pathways, make the right moves and qualify for the World Cup? Really, really good plans. Really had a great push. Fell short, great push nonetheless. I think Iqbal brought things on closer to earth as well. He started to, we started to see him a bit more in all the states, very oddly enough. Iqbal's really going out there and all that kind of stuff. And I remember Mr. Mahinda was always on the go. He's the guy who's always there trying to, think of that big picture. He's the big picture guy. And Iqbal is the big picture on every other front as well. So, and I think it was two different times the focus on any president had to be that. It had to be that, to be fair. It had to be that. The president at that time had to look at that. The president this time had to look at it a bit more holistically. So that was pretty much what it was. And did Iqbal do better? I think it's two different scoring principles here. Okay, whether Iqbal or Mahinda did better and so on. That's not fair. Tunku Imran was the president for so long, and cricket literally survived whatever that we were going through. The very scarce resources and the limited facilities and all that. Tunku Imran saw us through that with Mr. PK as well. So we got to score them very differently.
Different challenges.
But I liked both of them for different reasons. But was Iqbal a good president? I don't think anybody would say no. Okay, whether they're not happy with decision making, that's a whole different thing.
But again, I've noticed in coup d'etats or power tussles that's happening now, even currently, in various fields, that usually there is an incentive that people are after, or that there is something happening that you could argue is triggering a power tussle, right? You at the end of the day, a spark needs a fire. A fire needs a spark, sorry. And could the fact that we are having the SEA Games be the spark why people want to suddenly come into power? Because as you said early on in this interview, that these problems did not happen last night. They have been festering for a long time. And so now perhaps when there is, people can see the gold pot at the end of the rainbow, suddenly everybody wants to seize power. Could that be a reason?
Well, I think under the last administration, I think Malaysia Cricket saw its highest profits in terms of keeping the books green, very green, as reported. So that's what initially one of the things that was speculated why all of this happened. But I wouldn't have thought so, lah. I don't think it's so much of that. But the profits were endorsed by and audited and were presented and then accepted. So. But eventually, apparently, there was no pot. Oddly enough, later it was found that there was no pot, and I feel that where, who, what, why, when, where, what did I miss, what did we miss? Apparently things were seen in a different perspective and all that kind of thing. So apparently the pot is either there and not there. I probably can't see it anymore. Probably it's there. Some people see it, some people don't. It's invisible. It's got a cloak behind it. So the pot was it the incentives? You're saying motivations
behind this power struggle.
The pot has been said that there's no pot, and apparently there's something going on to clarify what was initially audited. I was part of that whole thing, and I said, please go and clarify it, because this gives a whole different perspective on how we go forward.
Now, I just want to track back a bit to the question of the 1 million grant. And since you were part of the team, you're part of the special committee that was in charge of showcasing how this money, or even using that money to do the grassroots programs. What was your plan at that time?
Oh, we had a few plans. We had a few plans on how we were going to pretty much go and spark a lot of centers across the country, including Sabah Sarawak, of course. And how we were going to do it was going to be in different angles to it, like go and have tournaments, training camps, and just go to some rural areas to really where there's just completely untapped, and go and literally spark all of this and have a chain reaction that continues to just replicate itself. So there were some of the angles that we discussed. Having things where can we really start something of a circuit that keeps playing throughout the year, and just so that we put that 1 million to good use. And of course, it was, those were all the high level plans. Till today,
you must have been upset, though. You must have been really upset.
Oh yeah, very, very, very upset, because I finally thought that because when it was announced, and when the idea of the concept of having a special development committee was put out there, they said it was going to be a different account so that it can be properly audited by the Ministry of Finance and so on and so forth, so that it's all going to be very, very clear, less headache for them, very, very smooth. and it was going to go into the special development committee, and they're going to craft out how it's going to be used. There was a lot of things that were being said that why do you want to reinvent the wheel, and which was a bit puzzling because this was a special allocation. It was not going to be there. It was a one-off thing. Maybe it's not a one-off. Hopefully, there's more of it down the line, but don't know. But it was something that came. But it was something new, and it was something that we really could do like a value add thing and think about what areas were we missing in terms of grassroots and development, and start filling those areas right with this and properly put it to good use. That was the idea behind it. And this was before I was appointed into the committee. But there was a lot of voices out there that were putting statements like, why you want to create a new wheel? Why are you reinventing the wheel? Because we have a scorecard grant concept that is replicated from the international body. That is, and we have crafted it down, which is part of the criteria that we have to then channel back up to the international committee for grants and so on. So it's that criteria is already there, and it should be and based on where you rank on the scorecard grants, you're given the scorecard rankings. You are then given grants. So they said you just pump it into that, so that there's more for each state to look forward to, which is not a bad idea, except that this was at that point told to all of us, it's a development grant to develop grassroots. That was what was told to us. So with that being said,
the Prime
it
Minister
can't just be dumped into your BAU.
Yeah.
It can't be dumped into your BAU. It's something special that we're allocating for you. So do something, off the cards with it, very different, or just take a whole different lane and do something. So that was pretty much when it started, it was like that. And then now today, it has not materialized at all. It's gone into whatever that it's being used for. They said it was supposed to be used for SEA Games preparation. That was what they said. It was clarified that it's actually meant for the SEA Games preparation. So it's disappointing. It's very, very disappointing. And I would like thinking like SEA Games is something that you work with the MSN, Majlis Sukan Negara, and of course there's a few parties that are involved in all these multi-sport games. Olympic Council, ISN, KBS. All of them are all involved in it, and it's a lot. It's not like it's new. We know that it's very much doing the SEA Games. It's all MSN. So why would this be announced? Or the SEA Games this year, but we would like to announce that Malaysia gets a 1 million grant for SEA Games. We're just announcing it in the budget. Very odd.
Very odd. And
Very
also
odd. So it doesn't add up.
the grammar used to say SEA Games prep and grassroots development are two different. You cannot confuse the two.
You cannot confuse the two, exactly. So I very, very disappointed. Disappointed in the sense that it doesn't stop us. We just have to continue as a state association. We just got to keep going with but we looked forward to how they were, how things were going to maybe be done differently compared to the special development committee, which didn't materialize.
No, I'm just wondering, like when it does anger me. Again, it comes from my teenage years. As we were talking, like we all had dreams.
Yeah, of course.
Does this happen in other associations as well, where grants come in and then the people decide, nah, I'm not going to use it for this. Thank you. I'm going to use it for something else. At the end, the youth get screwed.
I totally agree that it should never happen.
Yeah, it's
that
not
much
right.
I really agree. Where the youth, you should never shortchange. You shouldn't shortchange any of this.
Because some of them may have dreams to do it.
Correct. So I remember, one of them was an old-timer coach, who voiced out his opinions and said that it really has to be put to very good use. But how MCA was going to use it was something that he was questioning. And, and that is why I think, listening to all that, the past administration heard all those kind of things and decided, okay, let's have a special development committee to really focus on it so that we're not just telling people, we got this. We got this under control. We'll put it to good use, which is typically what anyone could have said. But we'll come up with so the intent was right. The purpose was right. The debacle happened and the development committee didn't materialize. There isn't a new special development committee for that particular fund that was given by PMX, and it was then clarified that it's going to be used for SEA Games. And sad. Very sad.
Another thing that I hate about this, and again, I'm not being too favorable to the government or what, but it's the grant is given, and then it's supposed to be for the youth, and then now years to come, this will definitely impact our performance, right? We and then these and then the problem is then when bad things happen, we point fingers at the Youth and Sports Ministry when it's actually no, the decision was yours. You made the decision.
Correct. Yeah, correct. So that's what I say. When you talk about leaders, it's not any one or two or three or four or five. It's basically that group of leadership, right? So
Yeah.
for me, it's very, very odd. For instance, this special development committee was formed. We met with the minister. It was formed, done, formalized, on the records. YB knows about it. Till today, am I still the co-chair of that special development
So
committee?
that also you don't know.
I didn't get anything in writing to say thank you, but we're not doing this. It's done. Was there anything written to each individual? No. So again, a lot of things were called out about the past administration, how things were not appropriately done. Okay. Has things really changed? I don't know. I don't see it.
Are you all now who are part of this committee? Are you going to challenge this repurposing of the grant?
We probably should put a good shout out there, but I would do it in the right ways. I would probably go to MCA right now and say, can we confront this matter and just clarify it. That's all I'm saying. If there was a communication to say that it was confirmed that it is to be used for the SEA Games, get it in writing, share it with the stakeholders, done deal. Finish. The topic is closed.
Yeah.
But this thing is still lingering in the air in limbo because you don't do those things. And these are the things that were said of the last administration that they were not doing. And then you're also not doing it. So very odd.
I mean, let's just move a bit since we come to the end, but a bit about the future. I mean, there were things that I saw that the MCA has also sort of signing a deal with to bring Malaysian cricket to about 15 million viewers in India and all that. You are now going to have your own Malaysian Premier League as well. So can you just give some update on that? What's going on there?
When I know more, I'll let you know.
Oh. Nothing has been confirmed.
No, like I said, I think probably there's a lot of people who know about it out there, but nothing's being communicated to me or Negeri Sembilan Cricket. I do not know of the happenings. The scorecard grant that I mentioned to you, the scorecard exercise, we ranked number 4 last year in the entire country.
So how much do you get?
We get X amount. Okay, and
you can't say it. Come on.
We have sorry.
You have to say it.
No, they have brackets. They have brackets. Something like this is just the scorecard grant. There's also tournament grants. There's a lot of tournament subsidies. There's a lot of things that you get from Malaysia Cricket. They've done really well to grow all of that. I think based on the grant, you get some. I think 60 to 70,000 if you're in bracket 1. Then you get slightly 10-15,000 less in bracket 2. And then it keeps going down.
USD lah.
No. Ringgit Malaysia. Why go USD? We are in Malaysia, so Ringgit Malaysia, of course. Okay. So that exercise has not been done. And I remember last year, one of the things that was the past administration, they were slammed. They were smashed on the fact that the scorecard grants, the whole handling of it was bad. And the payments were late, the whole exercise was not right, and was not done efficiently and all that kind of stuff. The exercise, again, has not been done. But I have to say this again. Maybe it was that we were left out. I have no idea. I really have no idea. Maybe it was. Maybe we were left out. I do not know. But
do you think that this lack of communication is negligence or purposeful?
At this point, I can't even say if it's lack of communication because I'm not sure whether there was communication or not. And it's that's where we are today. That's where it is very, very sad today. Because I remember this was one of the heated topics. And I remember the past administration cleaned up. They heard all the voices. They cleaned up the act and they paid everything, I think, by December. By December last year. They did it in no time. And this year, I'm not sure when the last grant payment was made. I do not know for what quarter the last grant payment was made for. I probably know it. It's probably quarter 1 and it was probably paid in quarter 2, but we're already in quarter 4. So, and I've got to call my treasurer after this. I'll let you know.
Please.
Behind the scenes.
We'll be sharing the whole audio clip.
So, I just really think that we haven't, things are same.
No,
It's not the same.
As a fan of sports, and especially being a Malaysian, you want to see the best for your country. You want to see us do well in all sports. You see problems in badminton now where players are leaving to become private and all that. You see football, FAM, the whole debacle is happening. Is this also going on in cricket, you feel, and this will hamper your development, that you all may not be able to reach your goals in the future?
I think what's going on in cricket is far worse.
Far worse.
I think what you see in the what unfortunately happened with our
FAM.
footballing fraternity, FAM, was very unfortunate. I think it's just a matter of process and getting things right, timelines right, process right, and so on. So I really wish them well. Football is football everywhere. So a lot of the fraternity is very torn, sad, gutted by a lot of things. So I really hope that, and I know that things will work out eventually. But I think things that are going on in cricket are really bad. Part of all that happened is that the players were exposed to it. The players got involved, were encouraged to get involved, and I was one of the few leaders of the fraternity that spoke against it and said, keep the players away. This is not for them. They should focus on things on the field.
Yeah, on the pitch.
But
yeah.
why are they putting forward allegations, statements, and signed documents, and as part of this whole thing? So now do you believe that I say cricket is in a far worse situation? So when the players start to get involved, whether by their own choice or whether they have been put to do this, I think that's where you've got to draw the line. I think this is something that you can't tolerate. I think that's the sign that things are really, really getting bad, and sky's the limit of how far this goes if it's not really tackled, as soon as possible. Like I said, this is about leadership, and I really, at this point, just ask the entire fraternity to really look. All of us have to look at each other, and maybe our time's up. Maybe a lot of us need to get out of the scene. But are you really bold enough to do it? Are you willing to really do the right thing?
Yeah, for the sake of the future
for the
and
sake
the
of
sport.
the future. Like I really have got to question certain things, like appointments that were made in terms of calling this great of the greats. In world cricket, you appoint this person in a high, very high influential role, okay, and then later this person seems to be not very. Not really influential. They've limited how this person operates, and then there are people who are sitting on certain committees that have done and played cricket, experienced cricket at what levels to really be there and forget about playing the game. There's some people who never played the game too much, may be good in administrating. Some people who played the game a lot may not be good at administrating or being an official or coach or something. But some people who have not really had a lot of experience in administrating the game at any kind of level are sitting on certain committees today.
That they should not be sitting on.
I don't think they have the merit to sit there. But this when I speak on these things, it's a democratic process. So then where we are as a sport.
I think you are sort of referring to, there is a coach, that very successful coach in outside, but now he's coaching the women's team.
Yeah.
That's also one example of how such talents are not being used for the right thing.
He was appointed as a high performance director or something, and the high performance director is in charge of the women's cricket team. Don't get me wrong, I think he should be in charge of all teams. But why is there such limitation there? Why is he only limited to why is he just heavily involved in one area and not the other? Okay, and again, you know what? Again, I'm just going to tell you that maybe he is involved in everything else and I just don't know it. And they're just not telling me. They're like, don't tell Sena these things, because Sena is just going to challenge every single thing. Literally. So this is quite shocking. That's just one of it. I'm talking about a few other very questionable choices that were made of who should be sitting where. And
do you think the choices are made based on personal ties?
Well, I can just say that who actually deserves to be there is not there. That much I'll say. Why the appointments were made, on what other basis, whether it was over teh tarik or whatever, I can't speculate on that. I only want to speak facts. I hope I've done you justice there about the facts that I know.
You have spoken a lot.
I
You have
hope
said
I've
a
done
lot.
you.
Yeah.
I hope I've
So,
done
but
justice.
okay, let's bring this to a close then on this. What's your hope? How does the Malaysian Cricket Association get out of this? What's your suggestion?
I think it needs a revamp, reboot for sure. I don't see, and if that includes a lot, some of us here who are on sitting in this boat, I think then so be it. I really think that that needs to happen, and it needs to happen fast. Otherwise, we have worked so hard to take maybe 2 or 3 steps forward across the last decade. And I think we are on the slope where if we don't continue to push forward and upwards, if we slip up, I think we're going to fall 5 steps backwards.
Is it a case that there is not much oversight on these associations? And then, because like if you talk about that 1 million grant again, this decision to repurpose it doesn't only jeopardize the youth, but in the long term, it jeopardizes future grants that the government may want to give the Malaysian Cricket Association, right?
Yeah.
And but again, then it brings back the question of, should the government then take control personally with their own existing infrastructure to develop these grassroots development programs, perhaps with the MCA as a counselor or as a thing, but not really give them the money?
Yeah, I totally agree. I would think that it's not just that whether the government gives this kind of funds, and there should be a certain group of individuals that are probably that are empowered to oversee and really implement it, ensure implementation is done. So then that purpose and objective is carried by them, and all they need to do is go and ensure execution is done by working with the relevant sports bodies and so on, and then that the sport will only benefit from it.
Yeah,
that's great. On that front, for sure. And then on the other front, I really feel there needs to be an audit, not done just on the financial aspects, but there needs to be proper audits that are done on how administrations, or how sports bodies are currently administrating and operating in terms of the governance and so on and so forth. Like, take for instance...
like your ISO and all that kind of...
Exactly. Yeah. So there needs to be those kind of things. The Sports Act is there, and I've been hearing a lot of things about, there's certain sports lawyers who are saying there needs to be a revamp of the Sports Act, or a whole new section or subsection or segment of the whole Sports Act that needs to be in place today, because, we're living in these times. There needs to be there so that we ensure that you can make new decisions. All right, it's fine for you to look at things differently and make new decisions, but let's make sure that you also know that these decisions that you have made in the past, you don't make it anymore. Okay, or whatever we are calling out as wrong, we don't make it. For example, the appointment of that person that is in the high performance role, director, and he's doing his job right now with the women's team. This was heavily scrutinized as in the whole lead up to the debacle, because it was something that was, I don't know, I'm going to get in trouble with this, but the former deputy president, it was him who actually brought that idea about. Okay, and you're scrutinizing every single idea and plan that was being done. A lot of people, the fraternity was doing it on one fraction, the other fraction was for it, and then immediately you make that decision. When you said that they don't know what they're doing, they're all over the place. They have no direction. The direction is poor. Hence the decision making and the planning is something that we can no longer take and accept, and Malaysia cricket cannot go in that direction. And you immediately go into that direction. Of course, today people will say that no, Sena is speculating again and all that. Call him, ask him, tell him to tell his story. Probably he can't say anything now. He doesn't want to say anything now. He's probably done with it or whatever. But this is something that he told me back then, and he mentioned the particular name, and then it happened. So I'm like, I thought these were the things that we said, no, we're not going in that direction, we're going to go in this direction. So there's a lot of that happened, and
so even you are an associate member of the affiliate member. Yeah. So all these major decisions don't go through a vote or anything, they're just done unilaterally?
Exactly why I say there needs to be a proper audit done, and all sports associations today, whatever level, we have to start evolving and adapting to the times. Okay, in terms of governance and administration. That has to change.
Do you think more pressure should be placed by the ministry on these associations? Not just cricket, everyone else?
I think
harsher punishment.
I think there needs to be more focus, okay, and a lot more action, and then the action to elevate, improve, ensure that it is properly structured for the current times, then you can have all the corresponding action for whatever consequences that, when you get out of line or out of track.
Okay. All right, man. Sena, thank you so much for doing this, man. I hope you you let everything out and you're feeling better.
This is the 17th time of me doing it. So.
Okay, but thank you for choosing the Good Cast Show as well.
Thank you for having me
Thanks,
on board.
man.
You'll never walk alone. For Negeri Sembilan, obain jang obain.
Guys, so that was Mr. Senathiraj Thevaratnam, the president of the Negeri Sembilan Cricket Association, sharing a tell-all and many revealing facts and his opinions on what's currently happening with the Malaysian Cricket Association. We just hope, as fans of sports, that Malaysia sporting associations get their acts right and do what's best for the country. And we want to see more gold, more trophies with Malaysia's name on it. So thank you so much, Sena. See you soon, buddy.
Much.
And to guys, we got many amazing interviews coming up. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.